of Thorns is a wild ride. It has monstrous highs and frustrating lows. And pocket raptors. So many pocket raptors. Look at them! Expansions are a great addition to MMOs. They tend to add a ton of content to the game and sometimes help to get new players interested, sometimes even raising the overall player count of the game. This is obviously a great thing when it comes to filling in a huge world and making it feel alive and lived in. I'm a firm believer that MMOs have some of the greatest potential for one day successfully creating a life away from real life. World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, Guild Wars 2, and so many more. While a lot of MMOs do tend to fail in the end, the ones that are considered successful have garnered insane player numbers that persist going forward. Seriously, these games have to try hard to actually fail at this point. Look at World of Warcraft. The game's last expansion, Shadowlands, was widely regarded as one of the worst in the history of WoW, and had ongoing legal issues. And yet, even with that, it's still going strong with its current expansion, Dragonflight. The other side of the coin is that a lot of those players went from WoW to other MMOs. It essentially allowed Final Fantasy XIV to thrive much more than ever before. I can only assume that a good portion also went over to Guild Wars 2. Speaking of Guild Wars 2, I have finally started their very first expansion to the game. With my over 2,000 hours of Final Fantasy XIV,
I'm kind of a big deal.
Just kidding, don't hurt me. My name is MegaMadVlad, and this is now the 5th part of my journey and experience through Guild Wars 2. The previous 4 parts will be in the description for anyone that wants to watch. In the last video, we went through Living World Season 2. That part had some incredible build up to Heart of Thorns, and now we're going to see if ArenaNet can stick the landing or flop around like a fish out of water. So hop onto your PC and keep your salads at arm's length. We're heading into ArenaNet's first expansion for Guild Wars 2, Heart of Thorns. As always, expect heavy spoilers in my journey. At the end of Living World Season 2, we saw just how catastrophically bad the fight against the Elder Dragon Mordremoth went. Trahearn led the pact into Maguma to take the fight to the Elder Dragon, only to be met with an absolutely crushing defeat. Probably a good thing that Vladithar wasn't there. After hearing news about what happened, we headed into the forest on foot. Heading into Mordremoth's territory, we find our team and continue our search for survivors. After finding a little batch of them, Vladithar heads down a pathway in search of more that were taken hostage. Once we get back, the little camp we found is under attack. Everyone gets ready to fight as more and more Mordrim come from all directions. It was at this moment, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Ritlock, appeared, quite literally out of nowhere, to kick names, take bubblegum, and eat ass. Wait a minute. Yes. Ritlock, fresh from the mists, is now a walking advertisement for the new class that came with the expansion, the Revenant. He's very strong, he can clear the way forward, and he hears voices in his head now like a full-on schizophrenic. After the fight, Vladithar is now blocked from continuing the story until he can learn how to glide. Geez, it must be very hard to learn how to properly use the glider. Probably months of training and classes to learn the proper maneuvers and to not go splat on the, oh, it's as easy as clicking a button. Cool. So with Ritlock's help, we've reached the first of our friends, Air, the mother to Bram. Now that we found her, all we have to do is save her and find the others. Oh look, she got caged with Fowlin, a very untrustworthy Sylvari. Oh look, now they're both out, but a big monster is chasing them. Better head down there to save... They just killed off Air? Oh no, now Destiny's Edge is no longer whole. Did not see that coming. Heart of Thorns clearly isn't holding anything back here. Moving on, we found Kaith and the egg that she stole. Wait a minute, did they just put Fallon's face onto that monster? While everyone is looking at the monster, how about we just take the egg and it disappeared? Wait, I have egg powers? Oh, so we're running from Monster Fallon. Better hope I don't fall. Whoops. Oh, so the egg just chose me. How does that work, cool looking golden armor ghosty man? Alright, now that the egg is safe, let's continue the search for our friends. Well, would you look at that? We're blocked from continuing again until Vladithar can prove himself to the Exalted, just to be allowed into the location called Tarir. I'm sure that'll take a long time. have to build up my reputation by being a good Samaritan, helping old ladies cross the street, opening up a cabbage shop, teaching the, oh, it's just a mastery. Thank God it's that easy. Oh, a trial, you say? 3 trials, you say? How tough could they be? Alright, killing things without being able to heal. Easy enough. This sure is amazing. I'm a bun now.
Worship me, mortals.
Now that we're done with that, we have to find Taimi. She found evidence of a long-lost Asuran city. It's probably filled with people willing to help and totally not long-lost for a reason. Wait a minute. Taimi has a cute animation I've never seen before. Anyway, we found Rodanovis and everything is chalk. Time to light up this old city. Found a teleporter and Taimi saved Bram from certain doom. Alright, let's go through this age-old teleporter. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. It blew up! Alright, so we see the facility with no way to go forward. Scruffy, no, don't play with that! Scruffy has left the party. Alright, so there's a lot of chalk, and now Vladithar is mad. Let's have a cookout a la chalk. Smells so good they keep lining up. Oh, interesting. Mordremoth has a weakness. What's that weakness, you ask? No idea. But now we know there's a weakness. Alright, now Vladithar is on the hunt for rocks and friends. Found them. Time to go save Logan, Traherne, and Zoja. Oh, it's Monster Fallon again. Oh, she's finished. Alright, Mordremoth. The only thing that can stop me from taking you down now is falling to my death. Whoops. Take 2. We saved Logan. Zoja, you're looking a little green. Are you feeling sick? We saved Zoja. Whoa. Cool looking spiral things followed by boss fight. Time to go after Mordremoth for taking Traherne. Oh, so we have to fight him in a dream? Interesting concept. I'll take Bram and Canuck to take revenge for Air's death and to show Mordremoth that he can't control all Sylvari even this close to him. Alright, Mordremoth, the only thing that can stop me from taking you down now is... Oops. Take 3. Oh, that's evil, Mordremoth. I always said Canuck looked bigger in a mirror. Alright, time to finish the big man himself. And we win. Traherne is now ready to leave. Here, let me use Khalid Bulg to help cut you down. Oops. Traherne has left the party. All the jokes aside, I honestly enjoyed the story. It definitely felt very short to me, but considering the game has a more gameplay focus, it's still great. All the stuff that happened in Living World Season 2 that wasn't finished then has conclusions now. Mordremoth showing how powerful he was so much better than how it felt with Zhaitan. Mordremoth actually felt powerful, and it was stated as such in the story as well. With the amount of build-up he had going for him, I'm glad there were 2 major fights involving him. One in the story, the other as a meta event. Speaking of meta events, I absolutely love them and their scope. This is one thing I absolutely adore about Guild Wars 2. The devs aren't afraid to make gigantic enemies, and their animation style is fantastic and makes the enemies feel much more real. Considering this is an MMO, it's incredible that they can do something like this without major drawbacks. What a normal MMO tends to do with gigantic enemies is what you would expect back in the PS2 era of gaming. A lot of times you'll see the enemy will do cool animations, but they tend to always revert back to an idle animation between actions. Sure, Guild Wars 2 does that as well, but is better hidden in my opinion. Let's look at a meta event called Slay the Shatterer as an example. This dragon swoops in to land and ends up sliding a little bit and then steadies himself. It's so clean, you can just pet him and throw him a treat like the good boy he is. Right before putting him 6 feet under. These meta events are pure spectacles. Giving us larger-than-life enemies while also needing teamwork is purely a testament to how competent the developers are. When it comes to the event in Dragon's Stand, you go up against one version of Mordremoth himself. The fight is insane and I was awestruck when I saw him for the first time. Even though I had a great time, I have heard that newer flying mounts have made the fight super easy. Apparently to the point where people can traverse all the platforms with ease. This apparently makes it a much quicker event to beat, where some newer players have a hard time enjoying the fight. Another meta event that I tried was called Octovine. I took the North Gate a couple times and it honestly looked like it was bugged. Trying to follow the mechanics of shooting at the vines, and they take no damage whatsoever. It's very strange, if the hit connection isn't working for some reason. That aside, in the 2 times that I did the Dragon Stand event, I was able to participate a fair amount both times, thankfully. Because of this, I do have a good idea of the fight now, and that's only with updraft gliding unlocked. I still need to get leyline gliding to be able to move even faster between the platforms. Since we're on the subject of gliding, let's go over how the mastery system is. From what I've experienced, this system is a great way to give players something to do, not only to grind for, but also to feel some semblance of progression for their character. While I can see gliding being useful anywhere in the game, I can't see having my reputation work with Exalted being very helpful in future content. Granted, this is a Heart of Thorns based mastery. It's only progression in that expansion as far as I can tell. Regardless, it's still a good addition to Heart of Thorns that can help keep things going for the players. One great thing about the mastery system is that it's also account based. You can unlock all the masteries on your main character, switch to an alt of yours, and they'll have all of them to my knowledge. This actually makes the system very alt friendly, of course, turning this into a one-time grind rather than something to dread from the expansion. Let's talk about the zones next. Each zone in Meguma seems to carry its own flavor of sorts, like their own mechanics and how things work there. Verdant Brink relies on its day and night cycle to have players doing different things during each different time of day. During the day, it's a normal zone. At night, however, it turns into what would be considered survival. Players work together to rank up various sites and survive waves of enemies periodically. Halfway through the night is when the choppers come in, and depending on which chopper you take will determine which boss it brings you to. Those mechanics aside, Verdant Brink really takes advantage of the new gliding system by really bringing the verticality of the zone to new heights. Like, it's honestly insane just how high you can get. From all the updrafts to all the different locales, gliding honestly feels the best in this zone. Another zone will bring you to a more cavernous region where you'll find lots and lots of chalk to fight. This is the zone that will be the source of players' frustrations, as it's the one that's hardest to navigate with all the floors. Let's say an event pops on a floor above you. All you see is the location on the map, and switching your view between all the floors doesn't help. You have to either know where the event is from playing the game for a long time, or to guess until you find it. At that rate, you risk not making it in time. Definitely been a bunch of hassles for me. Regardless of everything, all the zones bringing their own things to the table helps to keep Meguma fresh. Once you spend enough time in each of the various zones, you come to know what to expect from each one as you look on the map. Because of this, I do like how easily definable it is for me. I can go from doing one type of event to another in another zone, and know what to expect as well. It's actually great level design. Another fun thing I didn't expect to find was something called adventures. They're fun little challenge-like mini-games that you can complete for rewards and mastery points. While I haven't done all of them, I can definitely say they are challenging. Some of that challenge will likely dwindle down a bit with some of the masteries unlocked as well, but that's just another feeling of progression at the same time. Literal Minesweeper. One thing that did surprise me was just how packed Meguma was with other players. If you look at previous expansion locations in Final Fantasy XIV, sometimes it'll only be you there. The fact that people are still hopping into this area for content and rewards is great considering it's very group focused with its content and difficulty. The fact that there's 2 more expansions and Heart of Thorns still has this much staying power is a real testament to how it was made. In other MMOs, a lot of the time, new players will never end up seeing some content that the developers made. This is mostly because, as more expansions come out, new players will beeline to the newest content. While this isn't the case for everyone, it does get harder to find others who will be willing to do older content when they don't get anything out of it. This kind of mentality might be attributed to the difference between power growth in WoW and Final Fantasy XIV to that of the horizontal growth that Guild Wars 2 has. Overall, the sheer variety of exploration you can do in Meguma really fills this location out. It's a fantastic addition and has the forest feeling like it's really alive with its own personality. Absolutely one of ArenaNet's strengths for sure. And in all aspects of the gameplay, the masteries, zones, events, and whatnot, and you have yourself one hell of a location. All in all, I very much enjoyed Heart of Thorns. While I did enjoy the story, it felt a bit short to me, though it was still understandable from beginning to end. The main takeaway from Heart of Thorns has to be the location itself. It really packs the expansion filled with stuff to see and do. It's really commendable stuff that the developers should be proud of. While Heart of Thorns may be finished, I can definitely see myself playing it long into the future. Next up on the list for me will be Living World Season 3. Definitely looking forward to seeing where they go from here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I hope you all have a great day. Adios.